Thanks, Bella. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in this segment because I know Louisa just had you work through an exercise that I'm anxious to hear answers to. So my job here is to talk to you a little bit about why we should expand our reach as we look at that second priority. One of the reasons, and there are many, but one of the reasons is
At Rotary,
we have
to making people
Tom.
Possessed.
I go to Christmas fast. We have, in every club, we have built-in attrition, whether they want to acknowledge it or not. This is December the 9th, and from December the 1st to the 9th, I've received 2 emails from my own district secretary telling me about the death of 2 Rotarians from the same club. One was the district polio chair. She passed away, and then a few days later, our senior PDG passed away, both from the same club. The issue is, that club is not one of the clubs in the district that I'm aware of that is actively doing anything to improve its membership. So in addition to those 2 Rotarians passing away, somebody's going to move. Somebody's spouse is going to get cancer, and they're going to say, I have to back out, I've got too many things going on. And before you know it, that club is going to lose 5 members without even trying. So every club has built-in attrition. So when a club says to me, we're going to work really hard and we're going to grow by 2, we're going to get 2 new members, I say, you got to get more than 2. You got to get 6. Because inevitably something's going to happen and there are going to be people who are going to have to leave your club. It's built-in attrition. Day before yesterday, Tom and I had a meeting with our communications staff, and we were talking about written communications. And I promised them that I wouldn't put this in print, but I didn't say I won't say it out loud. So I'm going to say it. If your club is not actively attracting and recruiting new members and working to assess the culture in your club to create an irresistible experience, and looking for options and opportunities in your community to start a satellite, a Rotaract, another new club. If you're not doing all 3 of those things, you are sleepwalking into extinction.
Absolutely.
So just this past week, I posted on our DGE site on Facebook that very message. I said, these are the 3 things that have to happen at the same time. You know, I've heard clubs say, well, this year we're working on attracting new members, and then next year we're going to work on retention, and then we're going to think about a satellite club. It doesn't work that way. If you don't do all 3 at the same time, you're really not going to get anywhere. So this priority about expanding our reach, that's why it's important. Tom, do you have any message to share in this one?
If you want me to.
Yes, I do want you to. And then we're going to get it back to Louisa.
Well, thank you very much, Stephanie. You're absolutely right. You know, so let's see. Death, cancer. Okay, we can figure something to say. So I want to play a quick video about what Rotary says expanding our reach is all about. And then we'll talk just a little bit.
3. We're committed to making people feel welcome and at home in our clubs, programs, and within our leadership. As an organization that is creating stronger communities worldwide with members in all corners of the globe, Rotary has a responsibility to lead the way. We're exploring and evaluating new participant models so that people can join and take action with us in more convenient ways. We are bringing in outside help, collaborating with local experts on diversity, equity, and inclusion training. It's a great way to forge new kinds of partnerships. And we are being more intentional about giving all members meaningful ways to connect, including them in club planning and decision making and valuing their contributions. We believe that bringing people together to share different backgrounds, perspectives, and experiences helps us unlock potential and discover new solutions. Now, let's make good on that promise. Let's share our values with new audiences, create new ways to bring people together, and prove we are an organization that's inclusive, engaging, compassionate, and ambitious. Rotary's Action Plan. How can we inspire more people to connect and take action with us?
So expanding our reach, it's really, really important. So in Rotary International, we have a Rotary International Strategic Growth Committee, and they actually have a work group that's called Expand Our Reach. So what is that all about? It could be everything like Louisa was talking about when she was talking about forming new clubs. We have 2 pilot projects. We have Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland that are trying to have a global hub where you can join Rotary without actually joining a club. And we have the 6 people from the work group in Australia meeting today for their first meeting as a new council to see how they can do it. But it's interesting, when you're in the committee and you're in Rotary, what they do is they do a lot of studies, and we look around the world and see where is Rotary growing and where is Rotary not growing. And it's interesting because last month when we were meeting, they said this. They said Rotary is growing in the areas of the world that are adding new clubs faster than they're losing clubs. And conversely, the areas that are losing clubs and not adding new clubs, they're declining. So, and I know a lot of you were here at the Joint DISCON last May in Windsor when we were talking about why forming new clubs. So we won't be talking about that today, but after lunch, what we're going to talk about is how to form new clubs. And it's going to be exciting. It really is. Because you know, the thing is, it's not hard to start a new club, and a lot of people don't feel like they should start a new club because they feel like it's a lot of work. We're going to demystify it by actually saying, this is how you do it. Because we can get up here and I can say, we started a veterans club, we started an ending human trafficking club. But then if you're going to think, oh, that's really hard, then we're never going to do it. So if you were here back in May, we talked about the reasons why. That was the undergraduate course. Today, we're going to quickly go through the graduate course. It's going to take us step by step on how to do it. But there's other things you can do to expand our reach. This is an example of a Rotary Community Corps. So we brought 5 together, right, Stephanie? Together, 5 clubs in where I live, we got together and we started a Rotary Community Corps to serve Afghan refugees. And it was great. It didn't cost a lot of money. We would bring pizza once every 2 weeks, the Rotarians. And then the people who we were serving, that's what a Rotary Community Corps does. It takes a group you need to serve, and then Rotarians, and you bring them together to actually do good and make change. And then every other time we met, we would have chicken and rice, whatever the Afghan refugees wanted to bring. You know, they're our new neighbors. So we asked them certain things about what do you need? And it was amazing what we heard. It was like doing a community needs assessment for Foundation. You have to find out what they need. And it was simple things. They wanted to be able to take the driver's license test. But our driver's license manual wasn't translated into Pashtun and Dori. So we thought, okay, we'll get some money and we'll get it translated. Of course, it would have cost $25,000 to do that. And then it turns out that a friend of mine from my club who just joined, he worked for a hedge fund and they translated it. So we had all these success stories of these people who were able to take the driver's license test, they were able to pass, they were able to start making money, send the money back, positive peace around the world. But it's interesting what happened along the way. You know, we really thought that when we did this, we would get a lot of new members into Rotary. We thought, okay, we're going to attract those Afghan refugees, they're going to become good citizens, they're going to join Rotary. But what really happened was we did grow Rotary, but it worked in a different way. We engaged those members in our clubs who had kind of gotten tired. You know how it is when you do the same service project year after year, and you never try a new one, or you do the same gala or golf tournament. When we started this new service project, people started coming back, and they loved coming on the weekends and meeting with these folks. And so they started getting active in the clubs again. They started participating in our socials and started coming to our meetings. And the other thing that happened was when we invite people to come, we had you know, the local mayors from the cities, the people who were being served lived in. We had librarians, because when you move to a country, you don't have any money, you need internet to find a job, library card can get you an internet. We had companies like Toro and manufacturing companies, pharmaceutical companies, hotels, who would come every week. Well, these people in our community started knowing about Rotary. They started seeing what we can do. And our Rotarians, who were the school superintendents, who were the mayors, who were city council members, who were doing all kinds of things, we elevated the public relations, the public image of Rotary in our communities. So that's what, just one example that doesn't cost a lot of money that you can do in your communities to actually engage more people and bring them in. And I think that now we need Louisa to come in and do our hands-on exercise so we could take that back with us.
Okay, here we go again. Now, am I here again? Do I have to change the computer again?
Yeah, we're gonna do it, yeah.
Okay, so we better practice our hands-on activity of doing the vision statement again. Vala, where are you with the computer? Hello? Maybe somebody
He says I'm putting together.
okay, if somebody wouldn't mind checking to see what happened to Vala with, it's not that, no, that was yours, so there's no other computer here.
It's here. I don't know where
Maybe
it got
somebody could go and have a quick peek and see if they can find Vala. Okay then, oh, I didn't need this. Alright, so, improvise, adapt as needed. So, your first activity, you were looking at what could we do, right? Opening your mind. You had permission to be flamingos. You have permission to go far beyond all the things that people tell you you can't do. We're going to start to bring that in. And Vala had said we can use the space across the hall as well. So I'm going to suggest a couple of groups might want to do that because I know it was a bit challenging from a sound perspective and being able to hear. It's not the ideal space for group activity. So when we get to it, not yet, we'll get maybe a couple of groups, one group I think that was quite a large one that had 2 tables from one district, maybe if you folks go across the hall, that would help a bit. And if somebody else wants to, feel free to do that. So the idea of this whole exercise is to take a statement of aspiration, which we had, of imagining that you had this incredibly engaging and irresistible Rotary entity, which I was keeping very vague. You've heard, here it comes, good. You've heard about reach and about the difference that we have to change our thinking around attraction. And I love the word attraction versus recruitment. What's the difference, attraction and recruitment? What does it mean?
They come on their own if they're attracted.
Thank you. They come on their own if they're attracted. What else? What else does that mean to say that it's attractive?
They want to be there. They want to be there.
They want to be there. And what do you think of when you think recruit?
Somebody pushing you to join.
Strong arm.
You gotta join. This is so great. Here are all the things, right? So you're talking them into it. I see Vala, but I don't see a computer, but hopefully it's coming. So think in terms of attract people, not recruit people. Just the word itself is suggesting that you're needing to talk people into something, right? That should not be what we're doing. We should have something that is so irresistible and so attractive that they want to be there. And, as Stephanie said, attraction must exceed attrition. Right? We sometimes talk about the word retention. Attrition's just the opposite of retention, and they both start with A, so it works nicer when you say attraction over attrition. She gave you an example of life happens. So not just within Rotary, but within many organizations where there has been research done on attrition, 15% approximately is a bit of a magic number. That most organizations can count on about 15% attrition, not because of anything they're doing, but because of those things that happen, of people moving away or having other things happen in their life. That means a club of, say, 40, thank you, a club of, say, 40, what would the expected average attrition be for a club of 40? 6. Thank you. Oh, you're good at math. 6. So those people that have said to Stephanie, well, we're going to try and get 2 new members, well, they're down 4 at the end of the year. right? So the 6 keep you where you started. The extra 2 might give you some growth, right? That is just the average for doing nothing. So the data that you have available to you now, much more easily than we might have had in the past, is incredibly important. And as club leaders, you can access that data, your historical attraction, your historical attrition, all of those numbers are available to you, and you need to understand them to really make good decisions. Now let's see where I am on this. Okay.
The other one?
Is that not the right one? Oh,
Could be. Oh,
Ah.
what is this, a test?
Tom and I have the same question.
I'm working under difficult conditions. Okay, so you've thought about
Join the club.
what you can do. So you got all, so these were the things that Stephanie was just talking about, right? Leadership, governance, culture, right? It's the club experience. I often say it's all about me, M-E, member experience, right? What is the member experience that they have with your club? Do you have those partnerships and the meaningful impact? So now we're gonna go to the next level and take into account the things that you've just heard from Stephanie about reach as well, and attraction, and all of those pieces. And the next level here is, okay, now you're going to imagine that your irresistible Rotary entity reflects your community. Really. And I say really because it's very easy for us to sit back and look in our magic mirrors and say, oh yeah, we reflect our community. Really? Really? So what lenses might we want to look through to say, do we really reflect our community? Holler out some.
High school.
Gender,
Your local high school. Look at the population.
age,
of schools.
population,
School population distribution.
school population distribution, and how does that help you know if you reflect your community?
Well, just all the different groups that are in the.
Oh, okay, so you're talking about ethnicity and so on?
Ethnicity and all
Okay,
that, yeah.
so we've had gender, ethnicity, what else?
Age.
Age, uh-huh.
Socioeconomic.
Socioeconomic, is that one? Do we reflect our community there? What else?
Vocational.
Vocational. Ooh, do we reflect our community there?
Disabilities.
Disability or abilities, all the
Abilities.
abilities. What else?
Business.
Different types of business. What else? There's more. Many lenses. Religion, faith communities. What else? Keep going. Culture. How else do you know if you reflect your community? What else would you look at?
Age, do we say age?
We said age, but there's lots that I can think of that we haven't said.
You say diversification.
Diversification how? That's the question. The lenses of diversification that we can think about.
Well, I noticed one of your slides said like LGBTQ.
Okay.
and-
Sexual orientation?
Thank you.
Yep.
Do you reflect your community there?
Marital status.
Marital status, does that have an impact in Rotary? Yes,
Sure
it
does.
And I asked a question last night to this guy about how does one get to be a sergeant at arms, and you said it comes in couples. Yeah, couples. Couples are chosen to do that. So then I think, okay, so I'll never be one. I have a spouse, but it's not involved at that level. So I won't be one. That's not fair. You won't be one. Is that fair? That you and I both can't be one? I don't know. Like we have these things all the time that enter into how we reflect our community and how we even be Rotary. So those are the parts of this question. You're going to question whether really is there on purpose. You reflect your community. One of the ones that astonished me that I knew, but I didn't know the extent of it with the research that I've just been doing in my own district, was educational level.
Yeah, there you go.
The percentage of people in my community with a university degree is pretty high. The percentage with a graduate degree is pretty low, so that's a degree beyond the undergraduate. The percentage within Rotary, is off the charts. That was one of the biggest differences that I saw in terms of our reflecting our community, right? You don't always think about all these different lenses that we need to look through. But when we say that, and we're very quick to say it, oh, we want to reflect our community, just think about whether you really mean that. So your next piece of this,
Before we transition, just a couple more lenses that I think are really important.
please,
What I would say national origin,
yes?
the language that people speak, and then military status.
Thank you. So national origin, languages, military status.
That's very important. I know it.
Whew. So many lenses. Don't be so quick to say when you look in the mirror, oh yeah, we reflect the community. We don't. Sorry, we don't. Think about that thing again, that attraction exceeding attrition. You may be a club that has excellent numbers around one of those. Attrition, for example, let's say your attrition for some reason is incredibly low. Well, maybe you don't have to go as high as some other clubs on the attraction. But if the attraction number isn't exceeding the attrition number, the math is pretty clear. Right? So what might that look like now that you've been thinking about all the things that you could do? You're now going to think about what should you do within that list of all the possibilities to really reflect your community. What should you do to make that happen? So you're drilling down a little bit more and thinking about the most recent comments that Stephanie made. What should you do? What are the opportunities that you have to make that happen? Any questions? It's not that hard. But this part I know is going to be chaos because I'm going to say that a couple of groups can move. So there'll be that minute or two of chaos. And then, time check person, we have until 12, I think, for lunch.
12:15.
12:15, oh, awesome. So you can continue a little bit of what you were talking about with the what should you do, could you do. Not just could now, we're going to should to make this come true, right? And you've also got those 3 excellent secret things that Stephanie's not allowed to write down, but that she shared with us. Do you remember what they were?
Yeah.
Who was listening?
Be irresistible.
Well, yes, okay, and that was
Bring new members
that you've got to be starting new clubs.
and
Recruiting.
satellite clubs.
Well, satellite clubs was part of that one of having new clubs. And how was the other one where you wrote down? What did you write?
Recruiting, irresistibility, and expanding your options.
And
Okay.
retention.
Actively promote. Okay, so we've got a bunch of different ways of wording those things, but those were pretty clear. And they all have to be at the same time. Okay, so you kind of got, even though we said we can't tell you, you got to do this, this, and this, and this will happen. We kind of are telling you, you've got to be doing these things at a minimum if you want to grow. If you don't want to grow, don't pay attention to it. Okay, but if you do, those are pretty clear data points to start with. So, way you go. The ones that are going to move to the other room, go for it. Everybody else, keep going with your discussion.